much, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Premier, and it's on the Far North Act. Premier, part of the problem with the Far North Act that your government passed in 2010 is that it puts half the Far North off limits for any development that might benefit the people who live and work in the North. Now, there's supposed to be land use planning done so that there are clear boundaries for the 225,000 square kilometres that can't be used to the benefit of Northerners. This uncertainty has been a particular challenge to those seeking to explore and develop the Far North. It's sending the wrong message. Absolutely. That the North is closed for business. So my question to you is this. Have you figured out exactly what 250,000 square kilometres of Northern Ontario are off limits for Northerners?
Minister of Natural Resources.
Mr. Natural Resources.
Thank you, Speaker, and I'm pleased to take the question from the member opposite. I think the member opposite knows full well that the Far North Planning Act is designed to create exactly what he's talking about, certainty. Because left to their government, there was considerable uncertainty. We had situations in the past where we've had mining activities, where we've had protests and blockades. We had the KI Platnex issue. Those are the kinds of circumstances we don't want evolving in Northern Ontario. And the member knows that the Far North Act is designed to create the certainty that both First Nations want and business wants. In fact, we've got 5 First Nations communities in Northern Ontario that have actually created land use planning that help to create certainty in their communities. Speaker, what I would say to the member opposite with respect to this issue is that the Far North Act, although it may be for political opportunism, used to be misrepresented by people in Northern Ontario.
The member will withdraw.
Withdraw, Speaker.
His time is up. Supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, to the Premier, there's no denying that the Far North Act has cost Ontario jobs. We've been forced to watch as overlapping claims and government-imposed exclusion zones have wreaked havoc for exciting new mining projects. And when you eventually get around to mapping the half of Northern Ontario that is off limits, what happens when a new remote mine or the next ring of fire is discovered right in the middle of it? You're set to deny Northerners the jobs and prosperity from future resource development when it is needed most. Premier, what is your plan B when you get the mapping wrong?
Speaker, the effort that we are making to ensure that the Far North Act and that the land use planning that's undertaken in the region gets it right is the partnerships that we're building with First Nations and the communities in the Far North that want to see economic benefits, that want to see land development, but they also want the certainty of land use planning. First Nation communities have indicated their support, and folks like Julie Denomey, the Vice President of the Sudbury Chamber of Commerce, also said, overall, we agree with the Act, we like it, and we see that there's value in it. So from both sides, Speaker, First Nations communities, people who represent business in the Far North and represent communities, they agree that the Far North Act is something that is of value, creates certainty for businesses, and they support it, Speaker, and that's why we move forward with the legislation.
Question.